Hey there, and welcome to video 2 in this little series we're putting together here. Now, if you haven't seen video 1, you'll see the link above me or to the right, and whichever way that is on this video, and you'll be able to kind of see the prelim to this one. In this video, we're going to tackle what it takes to really create and structure your website in a way that can take maximum advantage of your SEO opportunities that you have using the structures we talked about in video 1 and in general with SEO, because Google's made a lot of changes over the last few months. And one of the things they focused on is how you structure your website, the content, the quality, the interlinking, lots of subtleties. So we're going to tackle that in today's video. And then in the next video, I'm going to be showing you what Backlink Commando is all about. It's a very, very powerful plugin we're releasing, which will literally take everything you're learning in these videos and in the Quick Strike report. If you haven't downloaded that, you'll see a link below here for that as well. And we've got some incredible stuff going on. I'm going to share that in the next video. That's kind of a little bit of a surprise there for you, and some stuff that I've been working on for over a year. But let's get the foundation started. Let's see what we can do to make you as attractive to the search engines as possible, and we'll do that right now. Okay, so in this video, we're going to dive into a lot more about the content of your website, because SEO is really about external and internal. It's what sets you aside from everybody else. And let's just imagine that this is your website right now. You've got this incredible website out there, and people are searching for your keyword, and there's lots of them. They're out there all the time searching for your keyword, but there's a problem. If you don't have all of your ducks in a row, so to speak, what's going to happen is people are going to find your site and then bounce off. And that's going to happen if they can't identify in literally microseconds that you are relevant to them, which means any traffic you do get, first of all, is wasted. And Google does detect bounce rates. And if you have a very high bounce rate, you're not going to rank very well. So what we need to do is, again, target our content for humans, not the bots. We've got to make it as a valuable experience for the user as absolutely possible. We give them everything they need to literally dive in, to see what we've got going on, to absorb the content, and then eventually, obviously, take action. Because if you are not guiding your people towards an action, at the end of the day, that is lost money. You don't want to lose money. And that's why we've got to kind of think, okay, what is it that we do that we want them to do? How are we going to target our customers to get them to take some sort of action that's going to lead to them clicking on an affiliate link, clicking or signing up for our mail list, joining our membership site, taking us up on this incredible service that we're offering, or whatever it is that you'd use to monetize your website. So let's talk a little bit about structure. What are we talking about specifically here? Well, imagine this scenario. Let me just delete these layers and clear the deck, so to speak, here with the chalkboard. But imagine that you've got a ton of jelly beans. If you take a bag of jelly beans and drop them on the table, and I'm not professing to be an artist here, but you can imagine they'll all land, they'll all be mixed up and all over the place. And that's kind of what a lot of websites are. Each one of these jelly beans represents an article on your website, and it can be a mess. It can be completely disorganized. And the thing is that if you confuse a user in any way, you've lost them. It's as simple as that. And there's an old adage from back when we ran a multiple six-figure website design business that I kind of drummed into every one of our designers, and that is, don't make me think. You've got to keep that in mind when you're building your website. If there's any point of confusion, eliminate that point of confusion. One of the ways we do that is with what we call content silos. Now, imagine that this is your website right now. And again, it's kind of a mess. You got a little piece over here, another piece over here. Each one of these are kind of, say, for example, we were talking about puppy training. well, these are puppy training articles, but they're mixed in with adult dog training and maybe housebreaking. So you can see everything is kind of messed up. Well, a much better way to do this is by organizing things so that like articles are with like articles. And the way we do that, if I take this, is organizing them into their subcategories so that you have everything tied together the smart and the right way. So for example, if this was puppy training articles, then all of the puppy training articles are in a puppy training category. If this one is housebreaking, and you can see I'm using the same industry, these are all like LSI keywords, if you like, for and more competitive generic terms, but then you could break down into subterms in your actual article. So for example, if this is puppy training, then this one could be German Shepherd puppy training, and I'm just going to use acronyms here. This could be Labrador puppy training, or multiple puppies. That sounds bad because it could be housebreaking there. But you get the idea. You can then target you up here at the category level. You would want generic terms. This gives you a little more competitive edge because you could start ranking for these generic terms. And then your more specific long tail phrases are targeted in the articles themselves. So what you end up with is, if you imagine this is the kind of, I guess, the site structure or the URL path. And you know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to actually, rather than, I'll type it out here. But say, for example, you have your website is puppytraining.com. So it'll be puppy. Let me just actually increase the size of this. Let's go big. There we go. So if this was, our website was puppytrainingresources.com / puppy training would be the category / and again, let me just actually, you know what, I'm gonna need to, no, I went big, I need to go a little smaller, so let me go that way. There we go. So it would be something like German Shepherd training, or something like that. Now what happens here is you've got multiple keywords in your actual URL here. And again, this helps you get relevance. The old days where you had to have just at the kind of top end, you don't necessarily have to do. I actually like to get rid of this part here, but in the slug or the breadcrumbs that could appear on your site, again, this actually shows up. Now this would be your full path, but you could ignore this part. You don't necessarily need that, except it shows in the breadcrumbs by your organization of your silo here. But you would get puppy training resources, German Shepherd puppy training, or something like that. And again, this is targeting multiple keywords. Your category structure or your silo structure still targets that generic term, and you can either take it, put it in your URL, or you can take it out. We actually have a couple of ways of doing that, but I actually, you know, I switch between the two and have had no problems. But in your breadcrumb structure, it would show something like home puppy training for, you know, and then German Shepherd puppy training. So again, you're kind of creating a most generic, semi-generic, and then specific structure all the way down your URL. And that really does help. If you group similar items together, that can really, really help. But here's where everything gets cool, because in terms of what Google sees and what they want out of you, they want organization. They really, really do. They want to see what you have going on. Now, for example, what we like to have happen is that we have, as far as the eyeball can see, is a group of like-minded topics all organized. And then for SEO purposes, we want a landing page of sorts that introduces all of these as subtopics. Now, the way I do that is with a category page. Now, usually when you click on a category archives page in WordPress or something like that, you usually get the title and then all of the latest posts. Well, there's a way that I modify that slightly, and let me show you here if I do this. Okay, this is a category layout example that I did just a few minutes ago. And say, for example, we've got, this is our standard structure. You've got your, and I've just made this up, your logo, your header, you've got your sidebar, and everything else. But usually when you have an archive, you have your category title, and then one thing you can also do is create an intro. Now, what I usually do is if my category title is generic, something like puppy training or something like that, then I will write a 200 to 300 word intro. This becomes my silo landing page, and this is an authority grabber right here as far as Google and the search engine is concerned, because I will target in this text my keyword puppy training plus my related terms, the LSI terms, and then what I'll do is I'll start showcasing the recent content. And I'll give you a little kind of tip or a trick here. While I might have lots and lots of other articles, and you don't have to have this kind of column structure, it could be one after the other, and then multiple pagination, like page 1, 2, 3, 4, and everything else. One thing I might do is if I have a really great piece of gold content that's a high converter, I might have what's called a sticky post. Now, having that is very powerful, because if this is a really high converting, eye-grabbing article, that's the first one that new visitors are likely to see when we rank our category as our silo landing page. Now, by doing that, first of all, you're tying in content directly for the search engines. This is search engine grabbing, but it also can pre-sell calls to action and everything else. In fact, you could actually embed some sort of ad right here, or hey, download our free report type stuff. But I do like a little bit of SEO text in here. But if you use that as a pre-sell, that works as well. This one, again, if you have the sticky post, it doesn't matter what new items you're putting in here, they appear here. The sticky post stays there. So again, this could be kind of ad-based as well in some ways, or and we'll get into some content structuring in just a moment. But you can see how now we're organizing, we're bringing everything into one nice container that is, as far as the search engine is concerned, if you have, say, 10 very nice categories, instead of just targeting your homepage, which a lot of people do, you're stuck with one keyword. Well, I like to have, 5 to 10 categories, and those are basically new landing pages in their own right. And then if you imagine this, you've got your home page, and you've got your 5 categories. I'll keep it simple numbers here. And then under each one of those, you've got targeted, money-driven articles. Now you've created a very nice hierarchical structure that the search engines will actually be able to crawl, rank, see that you're relevant. And the cool thing is, by grouping all these things together, and I'll show you this in a moment as well, you actually have a lot better what's called internal linking structure, where everything is interlinked with very similar, very popular items, because they're all in the same keyword, they're all in the same category, and it just creates a much better interlink structure that, again, Google finds easy to crawl and then will give you much more authority for. So one thing I should mention as well is that when you're doing this intro text, maybe your theme doesn't support category descriptions. If it doesn't, it's easily added. You might want to hire a programmer on Fiverr to add category description support. It's about 2 or 3 lines of code to enable that if it doesn't support it, and it's very much well worth it. The other sneaky trick, which if you can't do it that way, is instead of using a category intro, you use your sticky post, put your SEO text here, but then don't make it clickable. But that's kind of, that to me is a bit of what we call a clunge. I prefer to actually have it with that. And also another thing which a lot of people don't know, there's a plugin called, I think it's called HTML description or HTML category description. I think that's what it's called, where you can actually then put HTML instead of just plain text. You can have links, include images and all sorts of things in your category description. But have a look on the WordPress repository for that. If you go to plugins, add new, or search, you can find it there. Now, so that's great for the category. Okay, we're getting our jelly beans all in a row. That's all great. But what about the page itself? What can we do there? Well, imagine this. And let me just kill that. Imagine that this is your content page. Here's a few tips here that I use for conversion. There's one thing I like to do, and that is add in what's called a subheading. Now, most people just stick with a title and then they go dive right in to right into the content. Now, the title, first of all, I always treat this like copywriting. And one thing I always want to do is highlight a benefit or a result with the title. For example, 5 killer ways to stop your dog chewing your slippers. As we found out recently, because a very nice pair of slippers got chewed to hell by my German Shepherd. So again, I'm giving a result right up front. 5 ways to stop your dog chewing. Now, if you've got a problem with your dog chewing things, then 5 ways to stop them might give you one that's relevant to you. And again, it's kind of keying in with the user's mindset. And again, Google knows this. Google understands copywriting terms that are value-based. If I just said, stop your dog chewing, well, that's not very much a call to action. That's not very pizzazzy. Now, you also, again, you want to get your readers engaged. This will stop and prevent your bounce rates. It will increase the time that they're on your site and everything else. You want to engage them. Now, the other way I do that is, while a title is a short hit, could be 5 ways, I'll give you another example, how to get on top of Google, or how to, deal with Google Penguin. There could be, that again, people who are dealing with, say, whatever the latest Google change is, they want to know how to deal with it. They want to know how to prevent Google slaps. They want to know how to rank better, how to get more traffic. So, telling people how to do something is a great way. Giving a numbers-based result, like I mentioned, 5 ways to do this. If you want to create a little mystery, 5 secret ranking strategies Google will never tell you. Again, that tells you, you've got the word secret in there. Something that captures the mind. And there's some great resources. In fact, when you get Backlink Commando, which is being released on December 12th at 12 p.m., shameless plug, kind of obvious as we're doing these videos, but one of the downloads in there I'll add in a whole lot of headline examples and things like that. Now, the other way I like to do that, okay, I've got the short hit title, but I also add in a subheadline. Now, this subheadline is aimed at one thing. It's giving them a reason why, once they've read the title, they've still got it in their minds, why do I care? What's in it for me? What's my main benefit? So I give them a reason. Even if it's a 2-line subcategory, I say, okay, what's in it for you? Well, how are you going to do X? How are you going to achieve the benefit you want? And I'll give you an example of a subheadline. I'll show you this in action, in fact. If I just bring up a browser real quick, because this is something I do on our website. So here's my website, and you can see right now I've got my title here, and you see why social media may be the best source of traffic after all. And then you can see I've got my silo structure here, and you can see here's my subheadline. Do you want traffic? Social media may be your route to launching your business revenue into the stratosphere. You can see what I'm doing here is I'm giving a reason to continue reading and why they should read and stuff like that. Let's take another element here. Let me just go grab tools of the trade. So here's another one, tools of the trade. 7 applications and software that can propel your marketing business. So you can see I'm talking about propelling, and what's the benefit? Well, it's propelling your business forward. But then my subtitle, what is a carpenter without a hammer, a painter without a brush, or a sculptor without a chisel? The same as an internet marketer without the right apps and software. So again, I'm kind of just giving more reason and more oomph to my title so that you continue reading. And then I talk about all the different apps that I think are essential to internet marketers. So again, that's a great example of structure. And when what I do is you can, now in my case, I have a full width image, but you could have an image right aligned and you can go into your content. But there's one thing I usually like to do, and you may have noticed it on the setup I just showed you, which is my one of my main websites, is that we have lots of content. We have nice stuff, all structured, bulleted out and everything else. But at the end, and this is the conversion thing, I have a nice big ad before anything else. It appears right at the bottom of all of my content before I get into the comments and related posts and everything else. It's a big ad with a huge call to action and something that is just brain dead obvious. Hey, I really should go and jump on this. In my case, it's an ad for the inner circle and everything else, where we have literally thousands of members. We want everyone to jump on board for this $1 trial because we have so many tools and resources and plugins and everything else that help people do what they do in business. That's kind of one of my main things. And then we get into things like the comments and then related posts. You should have a related post plugin of some sort. One of my favorites, I'm just going to give a little plug to a free one, is called NRelate, because it has zero impact on your page load. It uses a third-party service to get your related terms, and it works very, very well. There are tools like Yarp, which is yet another related post plugin. If you've got hundreds or thousands of posts, that can eat up a lot of processing time to work with that one, and I've literally crashed servers where I've got thousands and thousands of posts. So I like NRelate, and let me just show you that again, just to kind of bring it up real quick. And you can see here, there's the ad I was talking about, and then I've got a little bit about, a little author bio there, but I've got my related posts here. Now the cool thing with this is, again, that is internal linking, and you need internal linking. You want to interlink your pages as much as possible. And you can see I've actually got a lot of that going on over here. For example, here's an ad, some social media stuff. Again, a little bit of social proof, always good to have. If you have a Facebook following or a Twitter following, that's good. You can see, for example, I've got, although that's overlapping a little bit, there's 184,000 followers on Twitter, 70,000 fans on Facebook, and a lot of YouTube subscribers for our I Am Success Center channel. And then it's a good thing to show a few faces as well. And then I've got featured posts, so it shows related posts. Again, that's interlinking similar stuff. And you can see, again, social media. And then if it's in the same category, again, I've got a little more social proof stuff. And then news in pictures, because I have a lot of, I do a lot of, or use a lot of stock photography. Little tip for you as well. If you use good stock photos, that's a lot more engaging. One of my resources there is Deposit Photos. Cost me about $1 for each photo, but to me that's well worth it, especially if I'm putting out a lot of content. There are cheaper sources out there. You can use public domain, but I don't recommend it. Studio shots tend to work a little bit better. So I recommend that, but that creates much more engaging images, kind of like this here and everything else. If I'm talking about tools, kind of just creates that curiosity factor. And then again, I've got popular posts, recent posts, and then ones that I've commented on and stuff like that. Say, for example, I go here. This is one of our most recent posts. You can see here, 12 tips for creating internet marketing campaigns that rock, part 1. And again, so what do? Rock concert. Again, you've got a primary area here where you've got to do that engagement, and that's what we're doing here. Big title, compelling subheadline, eye-capturing image, and we're getting people trained to start scrolling down. So now we go boom, 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 and we bring them down. So we want them to keep going down and get used to scrolling. And you can see, again, another little thing we've got here is a little pop-out where people are, you know, as they scroll down, they get a little prompt to say, hey, what's the next article? And stuff like that. So you get the idea. And that is very, very powerful indeed. That is a great way to structure this, to rock on and literally get people compelled to read. Now, again, all of that helps you with the structuring, helps you with your ranking, because everyone wants to be engaged. You're pulling those people in, and the more engagement you have, the better the search engines will reward you. And again, the better traffic you will get, the better rankings, and everything else. Now, if you do that across the board on your entire website, might be a little extra work. Maybe you haven't put that much effort in, and you're thinking, wow, that's a lot of extra stuff. Believe me, it's not that much when you start doing it on a continuous basis. You might need to backtrack a little bit, but in the end of the day, that's going to help your rankings. It's going to help everything you do. A good internal link structure, like we said, related posts and everything else, that works very well. And there's another thing that I'm going to make a note of this, because I'm going to add this in with Backlink Commando, is I'm going to give you a little plugin as well called RSS Mixit. Now, this is a plugin I built for myself and for members of our inner circle, because one thing we do with the inner circle, just as kind of a side thing, is I give them a lot of free plugins, stuff that I never release to the public, and that helps a lot. But one thing, even if you don't write a lot of content to your website, maybe you're only doing it once a week or something like that, you need a pulse. And a pulse shows the search engines that things are changing on your website. Well, one thing I like to do is I'll create an RSS news widget, and then using RSS Mixit, which is a really cool plugin, I will grab, say, for example, RSS news feeds from different sites, maybe, say, for example, Google for a keyword, Yahoo, Bing, and then maybe also mix in some of my own feeds. Maybe I've got related sites, because one thing I like to do, and we mentioned this before, is if I've got a money site, and this is kind of what we were talking about in the last video, if I've got related sites that are on, say, for example, Web 2.0 properties or hubs or what have you, well, I can take the RSS feed from each one of those, because, again, they're on different IP addresses, so this isn't a bad thing. This is kind of crossing the streams, so to speak, in terms of getting authority back. Well, I could mix those in as well. What happens is that comes out as one feed, and it starts showing line items. And actually, I would put this at the bottom of my widgets, because, again, it's not important to be higher up the page. I would much rather have this as social media and calls to action. So if this was the RSS widget down here, and it's got line items with links to authority sites such as, you know, sites listed in Google, Yahoo, and Bing, that's authority links out, which is good because you want to link to authority sites where possible to be a valuable resource. But you're also mixing in links to your other properties to give them authority as well. So that shows that you have got things changing on your page, that things are happening, you've got activity, you've got movement, and also links out to authority sites as well. So that's very, very powerful. It's a great way to structure your content. And again, in terms of everything we talk about in video 1, then again, that's going to help you rank that much better. And you can apply this principle right here to lots of your other properties. If you've got hubs, if you've got Web 2.0 properties, if you think about the way we've just structured that, that can help them rank as well, which means all across the board, if you get into that as a habit, mixing in your LSI terms and targeting and breaking things down, writing short phrases and paragraphs, 2 or 3 lines per paragraph, that's going to increase your user experience, and that will, by definition, increase your rankings as well, and your credibility and your value to customer in terms of Google. Now, that's it for this video. You really wanted to highlight that because a lot of people really make a lot of mistakes in the way they structure their websites, the way they structure their content and everything else. And, you know, the whole point of these articles is really you want them to take some sort of action. You want to pre-sell them through this until they get down to what you want them to do, which is maybe download your free report or click on a link to go sign up somewhere or hire you for your service or consult or whatever you're trying to do. Click on your affiliate ad. For example, if this was a site about puppy training and I didn't have a puppy training product, then maybe I'm linking across to something on Amazon or a ClickBank product. Or if I grab some PLR, private label right stuff about puppy training, maybe I can just sell it there for $9. Or I give a freebie away and then upsell to a $9 product. Doesn't matter. You want to be building leads. You want to take advantage of converting every single visitor you get, because it doesn't matter. You could have thousands or hundreds of thousands of visitors a day. If you're not converting that traffic, all of your efforts are wasted. So make sure that you're optimized for conversions, that you're optimized for usability, to provide value to your customers, your visitors. And again, that's going to give you so much more credibility in the eyes of the search engines. They'll reward you where they literally diminish the value of everybody else around you. So that's the great way to literally dominate the search engines internally as well as externally, as you learned in video 1. Now, in the next video, and this is where it all gets fun, guys. This is where everything really kicks off. This is where I showcase exactly what Backlink Commando can do and how all of this is great. This is the foundation. But how Backlink Commando now takes all of this and turns it into a nitrous-powered rocket machine of ranking. I'm going to be very honest, I am very excited about this. I've been working on this project for over a year, and when you see how this works, what this does, you will be absolutely blown away. We got some great stuff here for you, and this plugin is, I would say, nothing short of amazing. So in the next video, released in a couple of days, I'm going to show you that, and I'm going to reveal a very, very special thing that we're doing for all of you early birders who jumped on board this, and you're going to love it. That's all I can say, because if I give away too much, one of the things I tend to do in these videos is I tend to give away too much information, but that's why I love doing this. And so again, keep your eye out for that next video. We'll get that rocking and rolling in the next couple of days, and we're going to have some serious fun with that. So with that being said, enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope you've learned a lot, and I'll see you in video 3 in just a couple of days. Take care.